The Forbidden Anatomy. Chapter 1. Ordinary Days. Emily Carter had always lived her life by the book. At 19, she was already in her second year at St. Augustine Medical University in Boston, a place where ambition hung heavy in the air like antiseptic. Days were long, nights were longer, and the endless cycle of labs, lectures, and exams left her body running on caffeine and adrenaline. She should have been content. After all, she had Daniel. They'd been together since high school. He was steady, dependable, already talking about marriage, when she still had years of residency and grueling study ahead. Daniel loved her with the kind of devotion women were supposed to dream of. Constant text messages, surprise flowers, warm embraces after her exams. And yet, when Emily looked in the mirror, brushing her hair in the morning light, there was a hollowness she couldn't name. Daniel's love wrapped her like a blanket, but sometimes she wanted to burn. The day everything shifted had started so ordinary. In physiology lab, the fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, microscopes lined the benches, and the smell of disinfectant clung to the air. Emily had been up all night studying, her notes a blur of Latin terminology and muscle diagrams. Somewhere between cardiac physiology and neural pathways, exhaustion dragged her under. She rested her head on the desk. Just for a minute, she told herself. Then, shock. Cold. A trail of ice slithering down her shoulder. Emily gasped awake, shivering. Her blouse damp. Rise and shine, sleeping beauty. A deep male voice teased. She blinked into the grin of a tall student leaning against the bench, holding an empty ice bucket. His dark hair was tousled in a way that looked careless, but wasn't, and his grey eyes danced with mischief. The others laughed. Emily's cheeks burned crimson. "How rude you are." "That's not funny at all." The laughter died. The young man froze, as if he hadn't expected her to bite back. For a moment their eyes locked, his smirk fading into something sharper, more intrigued. That was the first time Emily met Adrian Knight. He was in his final year, already known across the faculty for his brilliance in orthopedics and his magnetic presence. Girls whispered about him in corridors. Professors respected him. But to Emily at that moment, he was nothing but an arrogant, infuriating distraction. From that day forward, she decided Adrian Knight was her enemy. Chapter 2. Enemies in the lab. The days that followed turned into a silent duel. Every time Emily entered the lab, Adrian found a way to hover nearby, tossing sly comments her way. "Careful, Carter. Don't fall asleep again." "Should I fetch the ice bucket?" Her glare could have cut steel. "Don't you have better things to do than annoy me?" But what unsettled her most wasn't the teasing. It was the way her body reacted. She found herself watching him when she shouldn't. The way his shirt clung to his shoulders. The curve of his smile when he leaned over a cadaver model to demonstrate a tendon. The confidence in his hands. At night, lying next to Daniel while he snored softly, Emily's thoughts betrayed her. Images of Adrian surfaced unbidden. His gaze, his voice, the way he carried himself with maddening ease. She hated herself for it. Daniel loved her. He would do anything for her. And yet Adrian's shadow seeped into her dreams. One evening, as she left the library, Adrian appeared at the door. "Still burning the midnight oil?" he asked, falling into step beside her. She quickened her pace. "Why do you care?" "I don't, I'm just intrigued." His voice dropped lower. "You don't scare easily. Most people laugh off my jokes." "You don't, because you're not funny," she snapped. His chuckle followed her into the night, and for the first time, her heart wouldn't calm down. Chapter 3. Crossing lines. By the end of the semester, Adrian was assigned as her curator in anatomy. Fate's cruel joke. The first day he stood at the front, explaining joint mechanics. Emily clenched her pen so hard it nearly snapped. She refused to look at him, but during a break, Adrian approached. His voice was softer than she'd ever heard it. "Emily, I need to apologize." About that ice. It was stupid. You deserved better than that. She blinked, stunned. You're actually apologizing. A rueful smile. I am. And if you'll let me make it up, I could show you some proper stretching techniques. You're always hunched over your notes. As an orthopedic guy, I noticed these things. Something in his tone disarmed her. Against her better judgment, she agreed. That evening, in a quiet lab, Adrian guided her through shoulder rotations and back stretches. His hands hovered, then settled gently on her shoulders, kneading the tense muscles. Relax, he murmured, his breath brushing her ear. Emily's body betrayed her. Heat coiled low in her stomach. She closed her eyes, every nerve alive under his touch. When his thumbs pressed into the knots at her neck, a soft sound escaped her lips. She caught herself instantly, horrified. Adrian stilled, then leaned closer. You have no idea what you do to me, he whispered. And then his mouth was on hers. Fierce, hungry, inevitable. Emily should have stopped him. She didn't. Chapter 4. Nights of Fire. The dam broke. What began with one kiss turned into nights stolen from reason. Empty classrooms, abandoned library corners, and, eventually, a hotel room where their passion had space to breathe. Adrian worshipped her body like he'd been starving. His touch was fire. His lips mapped every inch of her skin. Emily felt alive in ways she never had before. Her body answering him with abandon, her moans silenced only by his mouth. She thought of Daniel sometimes, his steady hands, his gentle love and guilt sliced through her. But when Adrian whispered her name, when his hands pinned hers above her head, when her body trembled beneath his, reason dissolved. One night, in the frenzy of their passion, they forgot protection. Afterwards, lying in his arms, her skin damp and glowing, Emily tried to ignore the unease curling in her chest. But fate doesn't forget. Chapter 5. Choices and Consequences. Weeks later, staring at the test in the bathroom, Emily's hands shook. Positive, the world tilted. When Daniel proposed soon after, kneeling in their favorite cafe with a trembling smile, her heart cracked. She loved him. She did. But she had also betrayed him in the deepest way. That night, she confessed in fragments. The pregnancy, the mistake, the man she couldn't name. Daniel's face went pale. Silence stretched like a blade between them. Finally, he spoke. I'll marry you, he said hoarsely. But on one condition. This child is ours. Yours and mine. You will never see him again. Tears blurred her vision. The words felt like chains. But she nodded. A week later, she walked down the aisle, her belly already harboring the secret that would haunt her forever. Chapter 6. A life built on both love and memory. Years passed. Emily became Dr. Carter, balancing night shifts and diapers, lectures and lullabies. Daniel remained steadfast, his love a quiet anchor through every storm. Together they raised 5 children, a noisy, joyful family that filled their Boston home with laughter. And yet, whenever Emily looked at her firstborn daughter, with her storm-grey eyes and the sharp tilt of her smile, memory surged like fire through her veins. She loved Daniel. She was grateful for her life. She was happy, but her daughter was also a reminder of the lab, the ice bucket, the teasing grin, of the massage that became a kiss, of the passion that burned so bright it left her scorched forever. She never saw Adrian again. He became a ghost, a chapter of her past. And yet, some nights, when the house was quiet and Daniel slept beside her, Emily would close her eyes and remember what it meant to be consumed, to lose herself in a love that was dangerous, forbidden, unforgettable. Her firstborn daughter carried that memory in her very being. Proof of how far passion could go. Proof that once, in the sterile halls of St. Augustine Medical University, Emily Carter had lived a fire she could never fully extinguish.